Well, a glimmer of hope in the months-long standoff between striking writers and the major Hollywood studios, with talks set to resume tomorrow. Reporter Tom Waite spoke to an expert about the chances of a deal.
With the studios staying mostly dark after months of crippling strikes, this week the Hollywood writers and studios are headed back to the table. The question is, can they break the deadlock?
The studios put out a thing on August 11th that was like, here's all our proposals in all of your areas. Like, we're not giving you everything you want, but we're addressing everything that you want. And the writers came back with, here's why that's not good enough, and in half a dozen different ways. But they haven't actually had that conversation in the room. So that's one thing they could do.
Meanwhile, the backlash from striking writers against Bill Maher and Drew Barrymore had its desired effect.
I don't understand her position entirely.
Both hosts announced they will not resume shooting new episodes of their shows after they announced last week they would come back without their writers. Barrymore on Sunday posted an apology on Instagram, and Maher posted this on Monday on X, formerly known as Twitter. My decision to return to work was made when it seemed nothing was happening and there was no end in sight to the strike. Now that both sides have agreed to go back to the negotiating table, I'm going to delay the return of real time for now and hope they can finally get this done. During the last writers' strike, hosts like Jon Stewart, Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, and others returned to the air during the strike, but without their writers.
I think Drew Barrymore and Bill Maher were both sort of operating from that 2007-8 premise that if you come back without your writers, that you can do that. And I think you can do that by the letter of the strike rules and by the law, but socially and, on social media, you really can't get away with that.
Actors and writers say their movement has more impact when big celebrities like Barrymore and Maher stay unified with them.
All labor is labor, and we have to be united to all win. So the fact that they're not being filmed anymore, it's a great sign, and it shows that they're listening.
So the picketing and the waiting game continues. Will Wednesday be the day Hollywood starts to write the end of this painful chapter?
I think there's certainly more optimism than there was last week, but I've also heard a certain amount of pessimism as well. So it's honestly anybody's guess in terms of predicting.
Well, the writers walked off the job at the beginning of May, and they were joined on the picket lines by actors and other SAG-AFTRA members in July.